A majority of people in this country, their wealth is in two places, either the equity of their own home or their retirement plan. Now, paying attention to the equity in their home is pretty easy, right? They can see what is going on in their area by going on Zillow and those kinds of websites and get an indication of what their house is worth right now. The problem that they have most of the time when they're looking at the retirement accounts is they're just looking at the bottom line. Am I making money? Am I not making money? They're not really delving into where that money is. And most of the times it's going to be in mutual funds. They might own some ETFs, electronically traded funds, or things of like stock or some bonds. Pretty simple what they do. Coming up, we're going to discuss the biggest myth about your retirement account and why Wall Street is not your only option. That's coming up. Hello, everybody. My name is Ben Mohr. I'm the host here of Truly Diversified. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to spend today looking at an area where people often overlook what is going on with their retirement, and that actually is their retirement accounts. Now, don't get me wrong here. You're going, that doesn't make any sense, Ben. Of course I look at my retirement account. I'm sure you do. What you do is most of the time is you spend the time looking at your account on one thing, whether it's gone up or it's gone down. But I have sat down with hundreds of people, maybe over 1,000 people during my lifetime to look over their retirement plans. And what I find is that they aren't very well educated on what they are investing in. And what I mean by that is mainly when I see people who have a 401k or a 403b or something that nature, maybe a TSP, and I'll go through what those are. Any of those situations are company or government sponsored. What that means is that you're working at a business, let's say you're working at Apple or you're working at the post office or you're working at a hospital. They have to have a retirement plan in place for you, and that's what all those codes mean. A 401k, if you're working for a private business, that's what they do. You put your money in, and then it grows based on what is invested in that plan, and it grows tax deferred. That's the deal that you make with them and the government for doing that. Okay, now, if you work for, say, a hospital or something of that nature, or you're a teacher, most likely you're going to have a 403b. There's not much difference between the 401k and 403b. It's just the way they're titled. It really depends on what is the entity you work for. If you work for the federal government, you might have what's known as a thrift savings plan or known as a TSP. Again, they're all similar, just different titles based on who you work for. Now, what happens is at the end of the day, they're much like an IRA, an individual retirement account. That is when you have your own account. Let's say you have a 401k, but you want to put more money away on the side. You can have your own IRA and go ahead and get one. Or sometimes when people retire from a job, or let's say they've moved from a previous job, they might roll that money, that's where you hear an IRA rollover, into an IRA. At the end of the day, all of these accounts work almost exactly the same. It is that you're putting money in, you put money into a certain maximum amount to get a tax deduction every year for doing that, and then that money grows tax deferred until retirement and you decide to take it out, and then you're taxed as income on that money. That's pretty much how the game works. My point on this is that most people, when I talk to them, they show me their 401k or they show me their 403b or they show me their IRA. They'll just see how it's doing. Is it up this year? Is it down this year? But they're not really paying attention to what they're invested in. And this is my point. A majority of people in this country, their wealth is in two places, either the equity of their own home or their retirement plan. Now, paying attention to the equity in their home is pretty easy, right? They can see what is going on in their area by going on Zillow and those kinds of websites and get an indication of what their house is worth right now. The problem that they have most of the time when they're looking at the retirement accounts is they're just looking at the bottom line. Am I making money? Am I not making money? They're not really delving into where that money is. And most of the times it's going to be in mutual funds. They might own some ETFs, electronically traded funds, or things of like stock or some bonds. Pretty simple what they do, okay? But what are we talking about here? What are the key words you keep hearing from me? All of these words are stock market based. And that's where the myth about your retirement account exists. Trust me, when I first got into the business, I was a person in my early 20s. I became a reporter working for TV stations. And so I'm working for an entity and I had a 401k and I put my money in and that's all I did. And I knew that we had a custodian. What that means is it could be a Charles Schwab, it could be a Fidelity, it could be a Morgan Stanley, all these companies that you've heard. They will come in and take over the platform for where you work and give you a platform, a menu, if you will, and say, this is our platform and you've put the money in here. Well, here's the thing. Almost always, when you are dealing with a 401k or a 403b, or a lot of times with your basic IRAs, when you just go and sign up with Fidelity or you sign up with Morgan Stanley or Schwab, it's almost all going to be stock market based. So most people in their brain, as they go along in retirement, getting ready for retirement, think that is the only option, that what I have here in front of me is what I have to deal with. These are the selections. And that is the biggest myth of all. Just because you have an IRA does not mean you have to use a platform with Schwab or Fidelity and only you can invest in the market. We are trained that way from these companies on Wall Street to make you think this is your only option, and it's not. We work every single day with people who have IRAs where we educate them to let them know that they can take a portion of their IRA and invest in things outside the market. That's right. You can invest in many things out there. Now, our company here, we deal in life settlements. That's known as an alternative investment. They call it an alternative investment because it's an alternative to investing outside the traditional framework, which is the market. Okay? So now here's what happens is if you have an IRA or we can help set up an IRA for you, you can invest in life settlements. As a matter of fact, more than 70 to 75% of the people we work with use their IRAs to invest in life settlements. How does this work? Because you're so used to the custodian being your Schwab, your custodian might being the Fidelities of the world. There's a thing called a self-directed IRA. And when I talk to people, they get this very confused because there are two terminologies for self-directed IRA. A lot of people think that a self-directed IRA means that they have an IRA account and that they're in charge. Hence, they're self-directing where that money is going, but they're still in the market, okay? That's not the type of self-directed IRA we're talking about. A self-directed IRA, in which I speak of today, is where it is self-directed into other things outside the market. And there are companies all over this country that offer that, meaning you pay for their service for them to just be the custodian. They're holding your money. And you now have an opportunity to invest in many things that are outside the market. Life settlements is one, right? That's an area we do. But you could also invest in real estate. So if you've ever come across a friend who says that they've used their IRA for real estate, they have gone to one of these companies, set up a self-directed IRA, and then use that money to purchase a home. Obviously, it's going to be a rental property, most likely, or they might be flipping a house to make profit. And when they make the profit on that house sale, that money is now still in the IRA, still tax deferred, just like it was if a stock is sold with the old way of doing things. Okay, we cover a lot of content on here, and I'm always asked this important question: where do I start? What is a good first step? Well, if you're looking for a way to diversify your retirement away from market volatility and still get competitive returns, I want you to watch this free on-demand training. In under 30 minutes, I will walk you through the exact strategy that smart and wealthy investors like Warren Buffett have used for decades, and they do it by investing in what's called life settlements. We'll break down how this works, real case studies, and how you can add this market-independent asset class to your portfolio without having to lock it up for 10 to 15 years in some low-performing annuity. You will learn how to build stable, predictable growth and, yes, get true diversification, especially in today's uncertain environment. All you have to do is go to lifeassetllc.com/webinar. Again, that is lifeassetllc.com/webinar, or you can click on the link below here and watch it now. It is completely free, and I think you'll find it will be a game changer on how you think about investing for your retirement. Okay, now let's get back to the show. Now, with us, we're a life settlement company. So what we do is we allow you to pick from our portfolio and say, hey, I want to buy some life settlements for you. And if you're not familiar with what a life settlement is, please go back to one of our old episodes. We have a ton of it on there. We've talked to a lot of people in this space. But again, just to encapsulate what it is, the quick elevator speech is our company, what we do, we buy out life insurance policies that are permanent policies on older people who have health issues. And you can now come in and buy portions of those policies. And when they pass away, you get a profit off of that. Okay. So that's what happens. To make that happen, we go out there, we do all the work for you. We set up a custodian for you. You now transfer money from your 401k or your 403b or from an IRA that you have, or maybe you're making an IRA contribution. You put that money into this new account that we established you for the Self-Directed IRA company. And now that money that's in there can go out there to purchase the life settlements. Let me walk an example for you. John Smith, he's got $1 million in IRA money, okay, or $500,000 in IRA money, and it's all with Fidelity, okay? Standard play. He's got everything you think. He's got the mutual funds, he's got the ETFs, he's got some bonds, he's got some stocks. And here in 2025, guess what's happening? The market's choppy. He's not real happy with what's going on. Politics is getting a little crazy. We have issues like foreign wars going on. These are the shaky times that people worry about, and they happen more often than we care to remember about. So now John Smith is, 5 years away from retiring, and he's sitting here going, I would love to be able to take a portion of my IRA and invest it in something else other than the market. Because no matter what I choose here, I don't feel comfortable, because if things take off in the Middle East some more, other policies like the tariff situation, things seem to affect anything I choose from this menu that Fidelity or whoever is giving me, because it's all market based. I'd like to take a portion of this money and move it somewhere that is not affected by any of these things. And that's what life settlements provide, right? No stock market risk, decent returns, most likely outpacing inflation, and at the same time, non-correlated to any of these things that are going on in the world, because you're just buying someone's insurance policy, and that's not affected by what's going on in Iran or Israel or, anything Middle East or the Ukraine or the economy, or if the, COVID hits again, those things you're not affected by here. You're just buying policies. So what happens is John Smith talks to us, likes what we have, and decides he wants to come into this portfolio. And he says, to test it out, he's got $1 million. He goes, I think I'll try $100,000 with you guys, right? What we do is we give him portions of policies. It's real simple. He's going to transfer, and we do all this work for him, $100,000 from his Fidelity account over to the Self-Directed IRA. That is tax deferred. There is no taxable event. He's just doing an IRA transfer. It's known as a direct transfer. As I speak right now, thousands of them are occurring right now. Millions occur all the time. People are doing direct transfers as we speak all the time. It is tax deferred. There is no tax implication. That $100,000 now lands in his new account. He now buys the policies through us, and now he has a self-directed IRA account where he owns life settlements, and now he sits and waits. When somebody passes away, let's say the payout on that one is $30,000, $40,000. Well, now he's still going to have several policies in that account, but his money market in the account will have $40,000. Again, tax deferred. He's not taxed at that time because he's in an IRA, just like he was before. The tax rules wherever you are, whether it's IRA, 401k, 403b, are the same. It doesn't matter if you're invested in stocks. It doesn't matter if you're invested in life settlements. It doesn't matter if you are invested in real estate or precious metals. It's the same container, same fence, taxable situation in all those situations. This is where people have a hard time understanding and get confused. They think that all just applies to that custodian with Fidelity or Schwab. That's because for decades, you have been taught that by the system. As you get wiser and understand that you need to diversify, truly diversify, as this show says, you can take a portion of that money, pull it out, and put it over here in a self-directed IRA. We help you manage that account and start buying alternative investments where you can make decent returns that have nothing to do with the stock market and outside forces. And that's what this show is about keeping you truly diversified. And as you know, you can go to our website, Life Asset LLC, that's Life Asset LLC, where you can get an ebook about life settlements. You can watch our webinar, and we have our offers on there. So a myriad of information for you to grab from. It has our contact information there as well. So we're able to help you at any time. And yes, you will be talking to me. You're not going to some 800 call number. You can come directly to us. I have 2 decades of experience in this, have helped people buy millions and millions of dollars of policies, and have seen tons of payouts for people where they've made very good returns. And we can show you our returns. They're actually on our website and show you how we've done that. So if you want to get an ebook, you want to find out more information, you can go to Life Asset LLC to learn more. And coming up in an interview we're going to have down the road in just a couple of weeks, we're going to talk to one of these self-directed IRA companies and somebody who works there and just discuss in general how, again, self-directed IRAs work, why people are going there, what they're investing in, and why they're doing it right now, and why it's so important that people have this option so they understand they're not at the mercy of the market and have no other place. They're not handcuffed, they're not held prisoner by the market with those retirement accounts, where 95% of the people actually believe that is the only option. A lot of people have gotten wised up, have gotten smart about it, and see that this is your money. You can move it to different places so you have different options and be truly diversified. If you're enjoying this show, we ask go back and listen to some previous episodes. Tell your friends and family about it to keep supporting us. It's very simple, folks. All you got to do is hit the follow button on whatever platform you're using, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, we're on YouTube. We'd love for you to follow. That gets us up the rankings. Look, we've only been around for a couple months here now, and already we're seeing us going up the charts. The more people that see us, the more we get this message out, and we greatly appreciate your help there. And please leave us a 5-star review. But that's going to be it for us today. Again, Ben Mohr here with Truly Diversified. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to having you listen to us again real soon.